Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to go ahead and do the Golden Gate Bridge, and we're going to go ahead and block it in or do an underpainting with gesso. So I'm going to use black gesso and I'm going to use white gesso, and we're going to start down here and just apply the black straight to the canvas. Now gesso is an acrylic base and it actually dries really fast, and you can paint over top of it with oil paints. So I'm using this particular paint because it gives you that nice rich black flavor. So I have a very light drawing on here for the Golden Gate Bridge, just so I can see where I'm painting, and then we'll detail it in better. Alright, so we have some rocks in here. Now I'm just using a filbert brush. You can use any brush you want, just so you can get the detail you're looking for. Now we're still going to go over this with oil paint, so it doesn't have to be extremely accurate, but it does have to look relatively decent, at least so you know where everything's at. So I want to kind of keep an eye on where these rocks are right here, so I'm going to use a little bit of white gesso to go ahead and lighten this up. At least that way I could see some variation. And I'm going to go ahead and put oil paint over top here. This is where the water is going to be, the ocean. But I want to put a nice dark base on there. But I want these rocks to still show. So I'm mixing a little bit more white, a little bit more black gesso. So we have a dark gray. And then we could just come through here. Now I want the rocks to stand out, and in this case, the rocks look a little bit darker. So let's lighten this up a little bit. This way we can see where this is at. But what I'm trying to do is, once we do the oil paint, I just want to embellish the rocks. I don't want to have to go over them again in the black. This way they stand out nice. And again, this is just the underpainting. So again, it doesn't have to be really detailed. And because it's acrylic paint, it dries really fast. paint. And hopefully you can start seeing the shapes now. Just doing a quick little rough in so these stand out better. And it makes a good base for applying the oil paint to it. That's where the water's at. We have some mountains back here, all the way across, and I'm going to do that with a lighter gray. Part of the bridge right here, very hard to see it right now, so I'm going to go ahead and do that in a lighter gray, so this way it stands out a little bit better. All the way across. And it's got a slight arc to it. So now we're going to go ahead and work on the sky, and we're going to do that with oil paint. But first, before we do anything else, I'm going to let this dry really well. So once it's dry, which shouldn't take too long, then we can go ahead and start working on the oil paint and make it all come to life. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and do the sky. But before we go ahead and add anything to it, I want to go ahead and mix up some titanium white and a little bit of linseed oil, just a little bit, so it thins it down. So I'm using a palette knife, and hopefully you can see that. Take a little titanium white, and we're just going to mix this together so it thins it down. That way it's more of a transparent color. So we don't want a whole lot of this on here. We don't need it to be really thick. We just need it to be a nice slick base for the paint to go over, so it blends well, and it actually goes on the painting easy. So just mix it up really good. So I can take the palette knife, and with this, I'm just going to go ahead and apply some of it with the palette knife. So where this part of the bridge is, I know it's kind of hard to see, but we're just going to put a really thin coat over that. Okay, now I'm just going to use a 1-inch brush, which is typical house brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and blend this nice and smooth. So when I'm doing this, you can still barely see the lines from the drawing, but just enough where you can actually see them. So the sky is going to come through here and all the way up, and we're going to do some nice sunset looking clouds in here. So let's get a little bit of this as well. So we're going to use blue next. In this case, we don't want so much of it right here. So let's just take a paper towel and take this out of here. Alright, so yeah, sometimes accidents happen, but it's easy enough to fix. So now I'm going to take that same 1-inch brush, take a little bit of the blue. We're going to start with the top of the sky here. And typically with the sky, it's darker in the corners, and then it fades out. So at this point, we're going to have this really light. So we start here and just drag it down. Now we'll lighten up automatically because of the white, titanium white mixed with the linseed oil. Now if you have to add more paint to the brush, which you probably do, start from the top first and still drag it down. That way this is nice and light, very, very, very faint light blue, and it's darker up here. Go back and make this a little darker. So this is phthalo blue. Very nice color for skies, and it mixes well with the titanium white. So in this case, this is going to be your focal point. This is okay to be dark. It's okay to come around up here and be dark, and down over here to be dark. You want to try to make it lighter through here and a little bit higher and darker on the sides over here. Now I'm trying to make this smooth, so if I get a big chunk of paint in here, it's not going to help. It's going to put way more than I can control. So we don't want to put too much up there. And this way it draws your eye in towards the center. I like to use the paper plates because when you put the linseed oil on, it runs and the plate actually holds it better. The easel is nice, but it makes it a lot more difficult to mix it with the linseed oil. Just blend it in really nice and smooth. It's nice seeing blue skies. Right now in California, it's raining. In fact, right now in a lot of places it's raining. In California, we've had a drought for a long time. So this rain is actually nice. But some of the other places, they don't need so much rain. So it's nice to see nice blue skies every once in a while. So now let's go ahead and add some more colors in through here to make it look like a sunset. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and add some color to the painting other than the blue. And we're going to go ahead and do a sunset right through here. And we're going to start out with a little bit of titanium white and a little bit of violet. We want these all to be really light colors. So we're going to use white as our primary. A little more white. So we have orange. Make a really light orange. And then we have cad red. So these will be the sunset colors. Alright, so these will be the sunset colors. We're going to start with the violet. So let's take a little bit of this. We'll just kind of mix it up here where we want the clouds to start. And it's okay that the palette knife has a little bit more paint on it, that's fine. Let's blend this in. And the reason I'm doing it this way is the bridge is in front of the clouds. So I want to go ahead and try to get this background done as smooth as possible. And then you can paint the bridge over top. Just kind of throwing some of this on here for now, and then we're going to blend it out. I'll show you how to do that. Now we'll grab some of the orange and put it down here. So mix up a little bit more of the purple or violet. So you can put some areas where it's actually a little bit more concentrated. Just remember, you want to try to see the bridge behind it. Let's see. Let's do a little bit of red as well. We'll run that right through here. For the pink. Now I'm adding a little bit more white down here, just titanium white. It blends better. So this is my blender brush. It's really soft. They call it a mop brush. A lot of times you use it for watercolors. In this case, I like to use it for blending. So let's start with the lightest part first. Just blend this in nice and smooth. We're going left to right. You do little crisscross strokes. Just think about how the sky and the clouds would be. And lightly, you could go through the part where the bridge is at. Let's get most of this done first, then we'll hit where the bridge is at. Just lightly touch. You don't want to drag this paint a whole lot. Just want to blend it. So if you've ever been to California or you live in California, and you haven't seen the Golden Gate Bridge, you definitely want to take a trip to San Francisco and visit it. It's one of the coolest things. Make it look more cloud-like. Go. Go back to the blender brush. Want to be careful with Putting it back on the dirty paper towel so you don't pick up any excess paint. Let's start with a smaller area first. Just blend this just a little bit so you can still see it. You don't want it to disappear. The more you blend it, the more it'll fade away. So because these mountains are in the background, we're going to do those next. So it's actually overlapping the sky, so it'll look better with a cleaner look. So what I'm going to use is Van Dyke Brown, Lamp Black, Cad Yellow, and Phthalo Blue. And Titanium White. So let's take a little bit of the brown, and we want this to be dark. So I'm grabbing a little bit of the black, just to darken it up a little bit. We have a little bit of light shining on the top, and it's darker on the bottom, so you can actually make the bottom part more black. So get a nice line there, and work up with the brown. And I'm back using the filbert brush again. I decided to pick this one because of the curves on here. It'd be easier because filbert actually has a little bit of a curved bristle. The top of it is a little bit rounded. So we grab a little bit of white. Grab a little yellow. Actually, let's grab a tad bit of orange as well. Let's go on this edge right here with the mountain. I'm trying to get a little bit of a softer look and a little bit of a glow. So let's take some orange. We'll lighten this up some more. A bit more of the Van Dyke Brown. There we go. Maybe even a little yellow. Alright. Let's take it through here. We can still make it dark around the bottom. Blend it as you go up. Grab a little titanium white. We're going to actually go ahead and make it look like there's some fog up on this one. So it pushes it back behind the other ones. Now I can make this darker. Here. If you've ever been to San Francisco, it gets foggy. I think that's working. Let's go ahead and take some red, cat red, mix it with a little black. And take a little row of that. And let's see. Try to see where your lines are. It's right here. So I'm just taking a palette knife, grabbing a small little amount of paint, and actually trying to do as straight of an edge as possible. Now we'll go back to the filbert. Let's start right here. We'll start from the bottom and move up. So we have the bridge going through here. So this is on the far side. So we don't want to go up all the way. So we want to leave that there, and we'll go ahead and put the darker part of the bridge through here so it looks like it's going through. Go ahead and get some of that. Some more red. Make it darker. So let's go with the black and the brown. There we go. When you get it where you want it, you don't want it too black. Now you could go ahead and let's run this through here. So because the sun's actually shining the way it is, it makes it look like this is actually a silhouette. So this part is pretty dark. So you want to try to make sure this line is nice and smooth, so not jagged or anything like that. So if you need to run it through here, really not a bad idea. You could always go back and fix it. Because this part is the bridge in the distance, this part is going to taper down. It's going to be thinner than this part. So let's go back to the red. So I noticed this part and this part taller than these two pieces. So if you want to make it really accurate, you want to make sure you get that right. Let's go. So now we're going to do this back part. So I grab the thinner brush and let's get a decent amount of paint on there and try to establish where the top of this is. So it looks like there's a lot of lights back here, so it's actually glowing. So this really needs to be more towards the blurry side. And let's see, this needs to go right here. Kind of like a ladder. And top one. So just gonna go ahead and do a placement of these first, and then we can go ahead and detail it in a little bit better. So just using a corner of the brush to round off these corners. Get a little darker color. Go through here. Okay. I'll take a little yellow ochre, mix it with brown. Let's go for black, the red, or brown. We want this to be a dark color. We want your brush to be nice and smooth. So, but we do want some paint on there. Okay. So this part we want to be really careful. So we have these cables that come down. And we want this cable to come up to about here. Right there. So it swoops down from here. Get some more paint. Fill this in a little bit. Okay, so the one on this side is coming from here, but it's on the back side. So let's run a cable right through there, through here, then follow through. Have a couple more from the other side. So it's going to swing right in through here. Okay, let's grab this one first on the far side, and it's going to come into this cable. And then this one is going to go right in front of it. This one swings down to this corner with a slight arc. This one right here. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and work on the water down here. And since this was actually done with acrylic base, it was actually white and black gesso. This is actually dry, and it's actually like acrylic. So we're going to go ahead and take the 1-inch brush and dip it into linseed oil and put a thin coat over all of this. The linseed oil is going to help it be slicker for the oil paint, so it's nice and smooth and easier to apply. So then, let's go ahead and take, try something a little different. So I want to take a little bit of phthalo blue, just take it in through here. And this is a thin layer. Bring some through here. Not putting it everywhere, but putting it in key spots. Now let's take the 1-inch brush, dip it right into the titanium white. Let's run it right through here. Now we're going to run this left to right. And you notice it pick up that blue underneath. So then we could go back and clean up some of these rocks. A little bit more white. And the oil that we put down just makes it so much easier to move around. Just a little bit more. So now we can go back to the black paint. Let's go ahead and make these rocks richer. Nice black rocks. All right, so I think we're gonna call this one done. There is still, you could go ahead and keep going and doing more detail and stuff like that. It's definitely gonna be easier once it's dry as opposed to the wet on wet. But I hope you guys learned something today. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, please give me a like and a thumbs up. And thank you very much and look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.